Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, today I am excited because we are going to talk about what to do when you are feeling alone. What to do when you are in that place where you may be isolating and you may be feeling super alone as a mama. I want to tell you, number one, that you're not, and number two, what to do about it. So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of two girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, mamas. So today is kind of a part two. If you did not listen to Tuesday's episode about that feeling of aloneness and isolation that we can tend to fall into the trap of sometimes as mamas, I know I did, and I shared a lot of that on Tuesday. So go back and listen if you did not listen and you are feeling stuck in this place. But this is kind of the what to do about it episode, right? Like what to do about it when you feel like you're stuck in that feeling of aloneness and you're stuck in the place where you just feel so isolated, and you've done this to yourself and you may even be around other people, right? But you still feel so alone. And I want you to know, number one, that you're not alone. And if you did not listen to Tuesday's episode, you need to hear that first. But number two, what you can do about this is, I shared something at the end of the episode that talked about figuring out your purpose, right? Figuring out what is important to you and why. I talk about this on the podcast all the time. And I really do believe that that is one of the most important things that you can do to get yourself out of this place. And it may sound like, how is that going to help me to feel not alone? But really, the quote that I shared was all about how loneliness is not a lack of company, but it's a lack of purpose, right? It's a lack of purpose. And when you feel like you have a purpose, you tend to go about your life and your mindset tends to be a completely different way that when you are in that place of lack, when you are in that place of loneliness. And a lot of times, some of the traps that can get us into that place are something we also talk about a lot of times on the podcast is comparison, right? And looking at what you see other people either out in your daily life, like if you go to, preschool drop off, or you go to the park, or you go to, wherever you go, or you go to social media, right? Or you look at the television and you see all of these people who seem to be having it all together. They seem to be, taking all the trips and doing all the things. And you just feel like, why are they so happy and doing all of this? And I thought that I was going to be happy, but yet I'm not. And you start comparing yourself to other people and you start putting all these shoulds on yourself that don't make any sense because you don't really know what your purpose is. You don't really know who you are anymore because you have changed a lot since you became a mama, right? You have changed quite a bit since you become a mom. And now you are in a spot where you are in this season of transition and you don't know what it looks like to move forward from here. So I want to talk about what you can do about that, right? And number one is to discover who you are right now, to discover what your core values are in this season, because they've likely changed from before, right? Before you were a mother. To find out, rediscover what your strengths are and how you can use those to achieve what it is that you want to achieve for yourself and your family. That is like ground zero, right? And also, do not isolate yourself, right? We've got to get out there and surround ourselves with people who are like-minded, people who are going to understand who you are, where you are at this moment. And that may feel weird, right? It may mean that you have to find some new friends. It may mean you have to get outside your comfort zone a little bit, right? We talked about, if you go back and listen to last week's episode, we talked a lot about this, about getting out of your comfort zone and doing things that are uncomfortable for you. And one of those things is, asking a friend, like asking a friend for help or saying hello to a friend at the park or, someone that you don't know, introducing yourself to a new mother, right? There's so many different things. I want to start off with a quote here from C.S. Lewis that says, "Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, 'What? You too? I thought I was the only one.'" Right? You too? Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one feeling this alone feeling. I thought I was the only one who wanted more for myself. I thought I was the only stay-at-home mom who actually wanted to still work but still stay at home, right? Like I thought I was the only person who felt this way or that way, right? And when you start to share and become vulnerable and just put yourself out there, but especially from a place where you know who you are, right? A place where you're confident in who you are first. And then you put yourself out there and you discover someone else who knows where you are. And even if that is in a period of transition, or even if that is just getting vulnerable and being super transparent about where you are right now with some people that are already in your circle, right? Some people who you feel a little bit okay being comfortable and vulnerable with, right? That is a place where you can start. And I want to read another quote here. And this one is from Dale Carnegie that says, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you." So I want to read that one again because it's so powerful. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So what does that mean? How is that, becoming vulnerable and sharing? Well, it's not necessarily until you find out about them, right? Take an interest in other people. Figure out what it is that you want and what it is that you need for you and your family. And then put yourself into situations where you're going to be surrounded by other people who are in alignment with that. And then become interested in them. Right? Become interested in them. Get them talking about their dreams, their goals, what they want, how they're feeling, and then be that person who says, "What? Me too," right? And then you can share about yourself. But you will make so many more friends by being interested in other people. And I bet you care and you would want that, right? You want to connect with others, get other people talking about themselves, become interested, ask good questions, and then you can share about yourself. When you find someone like-minded, you can be like, "Me too." And going back to that C.S. Lewis quote, that's when friendship is born, right? Friendship is born when you can say, "Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. Now, me too," right? You too? Oh my gosh. Now we have something in common that we can, talk about, that we can grow together with. I have one last quote here, and it's actually a Bible quote, and it is Proverbs 27:17 that says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. And when you find those friends who are like-minded, you guys will sharpen one another. You will grow together. Your bond will be so strong. You will find your people, right? You will find that companionship, that community, those people that you have been dreaming of, that you have been wishing for, that you have been praying for. I know that is how I found my people. Right? That is how I found new people. I still have my old friends that I absolutely love and are dear to me, but I have made so many new friends by being vulnerable and putting myself out there. And as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. When you are willing to share what you're going through and what's important to you and what you are doing with your life and your dreams and things like that with others, you will be amazed at how those people can speak into you and you can speak into them. Right? And you guys can do things together. And even if you don't, even if your paths, I know there's a lot of people that have come into my life that they have been a friend for a season, but they have sharpened me. And I believe I have sharpened them. I hope that's the way that they feel about me as well, right? You don't, as iron sharpens iron, a friend sharpens a friend. You both sharpen one another and you grow, and you may wind up growing apart, but you have that bond with them forever because you remember them in your heart. And it is a special, special thing. I know this is how I feel about so many people that have helped me to grow and grow out of this season that I talked about that I was in on Tuesday, right? Where I was in a feeling very alone and isolated. And I want you to know, number one, that you are not alone. Number two, that you need to get clear on what is important to you, not just figuring out your purpose, but figuring out who you are right now so that you can figure out your purpose, right? And then number three, getting vulnerable and sharing and putting yourself out there and getting other people in your life, building your own community of people. And I would love to help you do all of this, right? Like this is what we do in my coaching program, is to get clear on who you are now that you are a mama, right? And so I would love to help you do that. If you go to prioritizewithpurpose.com, you can sign up for one of my prioritization clarity calls where I will help you walk through that process, right? Of figuring out who you are now and what's important to you, what your strengths are, where those lie, and how to use those to get you where you want to go. I've put together like a roadmap to help you find your true north. And I want that so much for you. So I hope you are having an amazing Thanksgiving. I wanted to keep this episode short and sweet, so I broke it into two parts. I hope it has blessed you today. Happy Thanksgiving. And if it's not Thanksgiving when you're listening to this, I hope you had a great one. All right. Till next time. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right back here next week. Keep smiling, y'all.